Hi, Gene here with today's thought. The younger people may not understand or be familiar with the man in the photo. That even though there's a quote there, that man in the photo that I used as a thumbnail for this vlog, that's George Wallace. He was the governor of Alabama, and he's famous. Well, he was a famous segregationist, as so many, we'll say most Democrats in the South at that time they were the party of segregation. And George Wallace was the governor of Alabama. He was famous for standing in the schoolhouse door when to protest the Brown versus Wood decision that integrated the schools in Alabama. So he was standing in the schoolhouse door, but he's famous for saying, as you saw the quote, maybe it was too small to read, so I'll repeat it now: segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Now, of course, the Democrats, who were responsible for all the Jim Crow laws and all the segregation and discrimination in the South, of course, they were replaced by Republicans a long time ago. So you would think we were all done with segregation, but it's looking more and more like George Wallace is going to get his wish. And it's interesting because the Democrats who supported segregation and the Jim Crow laws in the South, those were conservative Democrats. But now it looks like segregation, well, hopefully it's not coming back, but hopefully. And by the way, when the Civil Rights Act of 1964, just to put a final point on this, not to put too fine a point on it, as the quote goes, but that civil rights law got a higher percentage of Republican votes in the Congress than Democratic votes. But the irony is now it's liberal Democrats that are calling for segregation more and more. And hopefully this will not take hold, but George Wallace must be smiling somewhere because, well, the latest example, well, we're talking, he was blocking the schoolhouse door, so we'll talk about there have been calls for segregated dormitories so that black students would not have to live with white students, separate graduation ceremonies, and certain other things, and scholarships. There have been a number of suits, and they keep losing, but they keep trying this in the colleges. Separate scholarship programs only for black students and not for, if you're a white student, forget it. It doesn't matter how, if you're wealthy and black, but you're poor and white, these programs would favor the black student. So I want to read you something that is it's just incredible. I couldn't believe it. But this is even getting to medical schools. Now I'm going to read you, this is a paper. It's getting a lot of criticism to the credit of the country racially segregated medical schools or medical classes. Now, this is a little bit of a lengthy quote. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can read along with me. But just follow along with me because this is really ridiculous, and I got to read the whole thing because I really could not believe it. Remember, this is a medical school. So the title is Racial Affinity Group Caucusing in Medical Education, a Key Supplement to Anti-Racism Curricula. Anti-racism, okay, in medical schools. Forget merit, forget how smart you are. Let me just read the quote. As academic medicine begins to recognize and examine racism as the root cause of racially disparate health outcomes, we need curricula for training physicians to dismantle the systems that perpetuate these inequities. Since traditional approaches to medical education are themselves founded in inequitable systems, new approaches are essential. In other words, getting good grades and getting into medical school by merit, that's racist, okay? That's what he's saying here. Or the article is actually multiple authors, so that's what they're saying. Racial, here's a new term for everybody. Liberals keep coming up with these things. Racial Affinity Group Caucuses, or RAGCs, are one such approach. RAGCs are facilitated sessions involving participants grouped according to self-identified racial or ethnic identity, to support integration of anti-racism curricula into clinical practice. Okay, anti-racism curricula into clinical practice, scientific practice. Used as part of a broader anti-racism and anti-oppression curriculum, racial affinity group caucusing engages participants in critical introspection through the lens of their own racialized experience and enhances learning by building community and encouraging praxis, the integration of theory, self-reflection, and action. Such caucusing, which some indigenous scholars believe derives from Algonquin, get this, I have to read this again, I couldn't believe it. Such caucusing, which some indigenous scholars believe derives from an Algonquin term, the Algonquin Indians term, meaning a group gathering for wise counsel, involves a thoughtful and purposeful approach to dialogue. I'm linking to the article. You can read the whole article if you want. It's quite lengthy, but you get the gist of it. That this is a medical. This is something you would expect maybe in a very liberal, I don't know, history curriculum or a liberal arts curriculum. But this kind of thinking, this quote unquote anti-racism, this is pegging everything to racism, that it's permeating every aspect of education, including now medical schools. I've heard such things about these things being advocated for engineering, mathematics, that mathematics is racist as it is. I've seen articles that 2 plus 2 does not necessarily have to equal 4. It is just crazy. I wanted to just give you this one example. That's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would be great. Look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.